Game changer. Crisis alert. The world is secretly dependent on Filipinos and no one realizes it. Without them, hospitals would shut down, flights would be grounded, and entire economies would collapse overnight. And here's the shocking truth. Governments are hiding just how critical Filipinos are. Stay till the end, because one will change the way you see the world forever. Drop a comment. Which country would suffer the most without Filipino? Let's expose the truth. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you never miss videos that reveal the hidden realities shaping our world. Let me tell you a story. It's 3 a.m. in a packed emergency room in Los Angeles. The air is thick with panic, alarms blaring, doctors rushing between patients, and right in the middle of the chaos is Nurse Perla, a 45-year-old Filipina who hasn't taken a break in 12 hours. Her feet ache, exhaustion is creeping in, but there's no time to stop. A young girl is rushed in, her breathing shallow, her mother sobbing. Without hesitation, Perla takes charge, stabilizing her before the doctor even arrives. This is the reality of thousands of Filipino workers in America, holding the system together one shift at a time. Now, here's what no one is talking about. Without Filipinos, the US economy would crumble. Over 355,000 Filipino nurses make up the backbone of American healthcare. That's nearly 30% of all foreign-born nurses. Imagine if they were gone tomorrow. ICUs would overflow, surgeries would be postponed, and millions of lives would be at risk. But it doesn't stop at hospitals. Filipinos are running key industries, from tech giants in Silicon Valley to finance powerhouses on Wall Street. Many have climbed to leadership roles, yet no one talks about their impact. Even the airline industry depends on Filipinos. Behind the scenes, Filipino mechanics and engineers keep flights running, ensuring safety in the skies. Without them, flight cancellations would skyrocket and air travel would be a disaster. Here's the shocking part. Despite their huge contributions, Filipinos are often overlooked, underpaid, and underappreciated. They take on some of the toughest jobs, work longer hours, and yet, are they truly getting the credit they deserve? Now it's your turn. Does America truly value its Filipino workforce, or are they being taken for granted? Comment below and let's settle this debate. And before we reveal something even more mind-blowing, smash that like button if you believe Filipinos deserve more recognition. And don't go anywhere, because what we're about to reveal next will change the way you see the world. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the jaw-dropping truth behind the Filipino workforce, because trust me, this is just the beginning. Singapore, a global financial powerhouse, is witnessing a remarkable transformation. Beyond its iconic skyline and bustling markets, there's a compelling narrative unfolding, one that places Filipinos at the heart of its business and finance sectors. Historically, Filipinos in Singapore were often associated with roles in domestic work and healthcare. Today, they're breaking barriers and ascending to pivotal positions in banking, technology, and entrepreneurship. Take, for instance, Maria Santos, who arrived in Singapore a decade ago. Starting as an IT analyst, she now spearheads a leading tech firm's regional operations, exemplifying the ascent of Filipino professionals in the corporate hierarchy. The impact of Filipinos in Singapore's economy is both profound and quantifiable. Remittances. In 2023, Filipinos working in Singapore sent approximately $2.36 billion back home, underscoring their significant earning power and economic contribution. Financial sector growth. Singapore's financial sector, a major GDP contributor, continues to thrive, with foreign professionals, including Filipinos, playing a crucial role in its expansion. However, the journey isn't without its challenges. Singapore has recently introduced stricter regulations for hiring foreign professionals, including increased salary benchmarks and adjustments to work permit policies. These changes aim to balance local employment opportunities with the influx of foreign talent. For Filipino professionals, this means navigating a more competitive landscape, yet their resilience and adaptability have seen them not only meet, but often exceed these evolving standards. The symbiotic relationship between Singapore and its Filipino professionals presents both opportunities and questions. For Singapore, how can policies evolve to retain top foreign talent while nurturing local expertise? For Filipinos, what strategies can be employed to continue thriving in Singapore's dynamic environment? As we ponder these questions, it's clear that the Filipino influence in Singapore's business and finance sectors is not just a fleeting trend, but a testament to their enduring capabilities and contributions. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe Singapore should further open leadership roles to foreign professionals, especially Filipinos? Drop your insights in the comments below. What if I told you that the most luxurious hotels, the most elite airlines, and the finest restaurants in the UAE would fall apart without Filipinos? Sounds crazy, right? But let's be real. Behind every five-star experience in Dubai, behind every extravagant hotel suite, behind every smooth airline check-in, there's a Filipino working tirelessly to make it happen. Now, picture this. It's 6 a.m. in Dubai, the golden sun is rising over the Burj Khalifa, but inside a five-star hotel, the real stars are already at work. Janelle, a Filipina concierge, adjusts her blazer and takes a deep breath. She's got back-to-back VIP guests arriving, Hollywood celebrities, oil tycoons, and billionaires who expect nothing but perfection. She greets them with a flawless smile, speaking fluent English, Arabic, and Tagalog like it's nothing. Little do they know, she's been working 12-hour shifts, handling impossible requests like last-minute yacht bookings and private desert safaris. Filipinos are the backbone of UAE's luxury industry. The UAE's hospitality scene is built on Filipino talent. Over 700,000 Filipinos work in the Emirates, dominating industries like tourism, aviation, and real estate. Dubai's finest hotels, 80% of the staff are Filipino. The world-class airlines like Emirates and Etihad, largely staffed by Filipinos. And it's not just service jobs anymore. Filipinos are taking over leadership roles. From general managers to executive chefs, they're climbing the ladder, proving that Filipinos don't just serve luxury, they run it. But here's the big question. Is the UAE truly recognizing the power of its Filipino workforce? Filipinos have been essential in shaping the country's success, yet they often go unrecognized. Will they finally get the credit they deserve? Or will they remain the hidden force behind UAE's luxury empire? Drop a comment below. Should Filipinos be getting more opportunities and higher pay in the UAE? Let's settle this debate. Before we dive into an even more surprising revelation, smash that like button if you're proud of the hardworking Filipinos making a global impact. And don't forget to subscribe because the next country on our list is about to blow your mind. Imagine walking into Tokyo's bustling streets, only to find them eerily quiet. The neon signs still glow, but the energy, gone. Shops are shuttered, train stations are empty, hospitals overwhelmed and understaffed. Sounds like science fiction, right? It's not, it's Japan's future. One that's creeping in faster than anyone wants to admit. Japan is running out of people. Not just any people, workers. There are people, they're protecting their people, and including your own. People where last year alone, the population shrank by over 500,000. That's like an entire city vanishing off the map. Over 40% of the population will be elderly by 2050. Birth rates have hit record lows. Industries are scrambling to find workers because there simply aren't enough. Healthcare on the brink of disaster. Millions of aging citizens need care, but hospitals and nursing homes are critically understaffed. Small businesses folding. Family-run shops that once thrived are closing because there's no one left to take over. Towns becoming ghost villages. Some regions now have more abandoned homes than people. Japan isn't just declining, it's vanishing. Amid this crisis, there's one group of people preventing total collapse: Filipinos. Filipino caregivers are the backbone of Japan's healthcare system. Without them, the country's elderly would have no one to look after them. Filipino workers are keeping Japan's industries running. From manufacturing to service jobs, they fill the labor gaps that Japan's own citizens can't. Filipino professionals are stepping up in critical sectors, yet they still face roadblocks that make it harder to stay. Japan desperately needs them, but is Japan doing enough to keep them? Despite this growing crisis, Japan's strict immigration policies, low wages, and lack of long-term security are driving Filipino workers away. And here's the brutal truth: if Japan doesn't act now, it won't just face labor shortages, it will face economic ruin. Other countries are already rolling out the red carpet for Filipino workers, offering better wages, better benefits, and better futures. If Japan doesn't change fast, its last hope will leave. The question is clear. Should Japan finally open its doors wider for Filipinos before it's too late, or will they let their last chance slip away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Japan is doing enough? Let's talk. And before you go, smash that like button and subscribe because what's coming next, you won't want to miss it. What if I told you that without Filipinos, Canada's healthcare system would collapse? Sounds extreme? Think again. It's a freezing winter morning in Toronto, but inside the bustling hospital, Lena, a Filipina nurse, barely notices. She's been on her feet for 10 hours straight, managing patients, comforting families, and coordinating with doctors. Her phone buzzes. It's her mother calling from the Philippines. She takes a deep breath, knowing she won't have time to answer until her shift ends. But this is what she signed up for. Like thousands of Filipinos in Canada, Lena isn't just working a job. She's holding an entire system together. Here's what most people don't realize. Filipinos aren't just a part of Canada's workforce, they're shaping the nation's future. Healthcare is powered by Filipinos. Over 45,000 Filipinos work in Canada's nursing and health support sectors. That's nearly 30% of all foreign-born healthcare workers. During the pandemic, they were frontline warriors, risking everything to keep hospitals running. Imagine if they weren't here, who would step up? From caregivers to CEOs, Filipinos aren't just filling roles, they're taking charge. Many start as caregivers, but now they're business owners, investors, and even politicians. In fact, Ricky Valdez made history as the first Filipino-Canadian member of parliament and cabinet minister. What's stopping others from following her path? And here's the big question. Will Filipinos become Canada's most powerful immigrant group? With their growing presence in healthcare, business, and government, it's not a far-fetched idea. But are they getting the recognition they deserve? It's time to talk. Will Filipinos continue rising in Canada, or are they still overlooked? Drop a comment below. Your opinion matters. Before we reveal an even bigger truth, smash that like button if you think Filipinos deserve more credit. And don't go anywhere, because what's coming next will change the way you see the world. Hit subscribe and stay ahead of the conversation, because trust me, this is just the beginning. Imagine this. It's 3 a.m., your grandmother is rushed to the hospital, struggling to breathe. The emergency room is packed, but only 2 nurses are on duty, both running from patient to patient, overwhelmed. You wait and wait, but no one comes, because there's no one left to help. Sounds terrifying, right? Now imagine this happening all over the UK. This isn't some exaggerated nightmare, it's a very real future if one crucial group of workers decides they've had enough. The UK's National Health Service, NHS, is one of the world's largest public healthcare systems. But here's a fact that few people talk about. It would crumble without Filipino healthcare workers. Right now, there are over 40,000 Filipino nurses, doctors, and caregivers working across the NHS. They're not just filling gaps, they're keeping the entire system alive. And yet, despite being the lifeblood of UK healthcare, many Filipinos are overworked, underpaid, and undervalued. Let's break it down. NHS staff shortages are at a crisis level. Right now, there are over 112,000 vacancies in the NHS. That's 1 out of every 10 positions left unfilled. Filipino nurses are picking up the slack. They work longer shifts than most, often handling twice the workload just to keep hospitals running. If they leave, the NHS will fall apart. Without them, waiting times would skyrocket, surgeries would be delayed for months, and emergency care would become a luxury instead of a right. Here's where it gets dangerous for the UK. Filipino healthcare workers are in high demand. Countries like Canada, the US, and Australia are offering them higher salaries, better benefits, faster paths to citizenship. So why should they stay in the UK, where they often face unfair visa restrictions, limited career progression, lower wages compared to other countries? If the UK doesn't step up, thousands of Filipino healthcare workers could walk away. And when that happens, who's going to take care of the sick, the elderly, and the most vulnerable? What needs to change? This isn't just about appreciation, it's about action. The UK government needs to ask itself, should Filipinos be given better wages and working conditions? Should the UK ease visa restrictions for the very workers saving the NHS? Should there be more rights and benefits for those holding the system together? Because if they don't act soon, the UK's healthcare crisis could turn into a full-blown catastrophe. What do you think? If you believe the UK should do more for its Filipino healthcare workers, drop your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, smash that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next, because what's happening right now, it's only the beginning. Picture this. You're driving through Sydney's bustling streets. Towering skyscrapers, high-speed railways, and massive infrastructure projects stretch as far as the eye can see. Now, ask yourself, who's actually building all of this? Who's making sure Australia's booming economy doesn't grind to a halt? Here's a fact that will shock you. If every Filipino worker in Australia suddenly disappeared tomorrow, the country would be in chaos. The construction sites? Silent. The hospitals? Short-staffed. The restaurants, hotels, and manufacturing plants struggling to keep their doors open. Australia is thriving, but many don't realize that a huge part of that success comes from the hands of Filipino workers, so why aren't they getting the recognition they deserve? Australia is one of the most sought-after destinations for skilled workers, and Filipinos are at the top of the list. In fact, over 408,000 Filipinos currently live and work in Australia, making them one of the largest migrant communities in the country. And they're not just filling jobs, they're dominating entire industries. Construction and infrastructure, from high-rising buildings to major highways, Filipino engineers and skilled laborers are essential to Australia's rapid development. Without them, projects would take years longer or worse, never be completed. Healthcare and aged care. With Australia's aging population growing at a record pace, Filipino nurses and caregivers are keeping the system from collapsing. Imagine walking into a hospital where there's no one to help. That's the reality Australia would face without Filipino healthcare workers. Business and hospitality. Filipino entrepreneurs, chefs, and customer service professionals are creating jobs and running businesses that fuel Australia's economy. Ever eaten at a top-rated restaurant? Chances are a Filipino is behind the scenes making it happen. The country needs them, but does it truly value them? Despite their massive contributions, many Filipino workers face unfair challenges. Limited job opportunities. Many Filipinos are overqualified but still struggle to get promoted due to workplace biases. Underappreciation. They work long hours, sometimes in tough conditions, yet their efforts go unnoticed by the very nation that depends on them. Strict immigration laws. While Australia welcomes skilled workers, the process of gaining permanent residency is still a brutal uphill battle for many Filipinos. And here's the real danger. If Australia doesn't step up and start valuing Filipino workers, other countries will. Canada, the US, and the UK are already offering better pay and more benefits. What happens when Filipinos choose to take their talents elsewhere? The truth is, Australia's success is built on the backs of Filipino workers, but the country is at a crossroads. Will it finally acknowledge and support the people holding up its economy, or will it take them for granted until they leave? What do you think? Should Australia offer more benefits and rights to Filipino workers? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And before you go, smash that like button and subscribe for more eye-opening insights, because trust me, what's coming next, you won't want to miss it. What if I told you that Saudi Arabia's glittering skyscrapers, mega projects, and world-class hospitals wouldn't even exist without Filipinos? Sounds dramatic? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just be shocked at how deep this really goes. Picture this, a sweltering 45 degrees Celsius, 113 DEGF day in Riyadh. Construction sites roar with the sound of drills, steel beams clang together, and in the middle of it all, a team of Filipino engineers, architects, and workers sweating through their overalls but refusing to slow down. Saudi Arabia's rise from a desert nation to a global economic powerhouse wasn't magic. It was manpower, and a huge chunk of that manpower, you guessed it, Filipinos. From the Kingdom Tower to the futuristic Neom City, Filipino hands have laid the bricks, welded the steel, and wired the electricity. Think of every highway, airport, and luxury hotel in Saudi Arabia. Chances are a Filipino worked on it. But hold on, it doesn't stop there, because Filipinos aren't just building the nation, they're keeping it alive. Let's switch scenes. A hospital emergency room in Jeddah. A Saudi doctor rushes in, but who's managing the patient? A Filipino nurse stabilizing their vitals. A Filipino radiologist analyzing the x-ray. A Filipino surgeon prepping for surgery. Over 30% of Saudi Arabia's healthcare workforce is Filipino. That means if every Filipino nurse and doctor walked out tomorrow, the system would be on life support, literally. And here's the scary part. Other countries are offering higher salaries and better benefits. The question is, how long before Filipino workers choose to leave Saudi Arabia for greener pastures? Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Does Saudi Arabia actually value its Filipino workforce? Sure, there are Filipinos making a good living in the kingdom, but let's not sugarcoat it. Many still face unfair labor conditions, late salaries, and limited rights. Some companies treat them well, others not so much. And with countries like Canada, Australia, and the UK actively recruiting Filipino workers with better pay and more rights, Saudi Arabia might be in trouble. If Filipinos start leaving, Saudi Arabia won't just face a workforce crisis, it could see entire industries crumble. So what happens next? This is where you come in. Should Saudi Arabia step up and give Filipino workers better conditions before it's too late? Or will they let the backbone of their economy slip away? Comment below and let your voice be heard. And hey, before you go, smash that like button and hit subscribe because trust me, what happens next, you'll want to know. Picture this, you're walking through the bustling streets of Hong Kong. Skyscrapers loom above, neon lights flicker, and the air hums with the energy of a financial empire. But here's a question, who's actually running this place? Filipinos are more than just workers in Hong Kong. They're the backbone of its economy. From high-level finance executives to corporate strategists, they're climbing the ranks faster than anyone expected. Yet, despite their massive contributions, many still don't realize just how much power they hold. Take Marco, for example. He arrived in Hong Kong 15 years ago with nothing but a suitcase and a dream. He started as an entry-level accountant, crunching numbers in a cubicle so small he could barely stretch his legs. Fast forward to today, Marco is a senior financial analyst for one of Hong Kong's biggest firms. His decisions move millions of dollars, shaping investments and influencing markets. And he's not alone. Filipinos are breaking barriers in banking, real estate, corporate leadership, and tech. They're negotiating deals, heading projects, and making power moves that keep Hong Kong's economy thriving. But here's the kicker. A lot of people still don't see it. Hong Kong is a global financial hub, but did you know Filipino professionals are deeply woven into its success? Over 200,000 Filipinos work in Hong Kong, and a growing percentage hold high-ranking corporate positions. Filipino entrepreneurs are launching businesses from tech startups to trading firms, proving that they're more than just employees, they're industry leaders. Even in the corporate world, Filipino executives are making crucial decisions that impact international markets. And yet, despite all this influence, many Filipinos in Hong Kong remain undervalued and overlooked. Here's where it gets serious. While Filipinos are driving industries forward, they still face hurdles. Glass ceilings that keep them from the highest leadership positions. Unequal pay gaps, where local counterparts often earn more for the same work. Limited recognition despite being a critical force in Hong Kong's economy. So, the big question is it time for Hong Kong to fully acknowledge the power of its Filipino workforce? Or will it continue to take their contributions for granted? Let's settle this debate. Should Hong Kong do more to recognize its Filipino leaders? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you in Hong Kong? Do you know someone making waves in the corporate world? Let's talk about it. And before you go, smash that like button and subscribe because trust me, the next country on this list, it's going to shock you. Imagine this. You're sipping your morning flat white at a cozy cafe in Auckland, enjoying the serene view of the harbor. The barista flashes a warm smile and hands over your coffee. Chances are, that smile belongs to a hard-working Filipino, but their influence in New Zealand stretches far beyond your local cafe. New Zealand's stunning landscapes and rich culture are globally renowned, yet behind the scenes, it's the tireless efforts of over 100,000 Filipinos that keep the nation's economy humming. From the sprawling dairy farms of Waikato to the bustling hospitals in Wellington, Filipinos are the silent engines driving progress. Consider Maria, a registered nurse from Manila. Drawn by the promise of better opportunities, she moved to New Zealand in 2018. After completing the rigorous Competence Assessment Program, CAP, Maria secured a position in a major Auckland hospital. Her journey wasn't without hurdles, adapting to a new healthcare system, overcoming cultural differences, and enduring periods of homesickness. Yet, her unwavering commitment to patient care has made her an invaluable asset to her team. Filipinos are deeply embedded in sectors crucial to New Zealand's prosperity. Healthcare. A significant portion of internationally qualified nurses in New Zealand hail from the Philippines. These professionals play a pivotal role in patient care, especially amid global health challenges. However, recent advisories have urged Filipino nurses to exercise caution before relocating, citing limited job opening. Agriculture. The dairy industry, a cornerstone of New Zealand's economy, relies heavily on Filipino workers. Organizations like the Filipino Dairy Workers in New Zealand provide essential support to these individuals, assisting them in navigating immigration processes and addressing employment matters. Construction. Filipino laborers have been instrumental in rebuilding efforts following natural disasters, such as the Christchurch earthquake. Their dedication ensures that infrastructure projects are completed efficiently and to a high standard. Pause for a moment and envision a New Zealand without its Filipino workforce. Healthcare crisis, hospitals would grapple with severe staffing shortages, compromising patient care, and increasing wait times. Agricultural downturn, the dairy sector would face operational challenges, potentially leading to decreased production and economic repercussions. stalled infrastructure, construction projects could experience significant delays, hindering urban development and disaster recovery efforts. The absence of Filipino workers would not just be a loss of manpower, but a blow to the very fabric of New Zealand's economy. Despite their monumental contributions, many Filipinos encounter challenges. Visa uncertainties. Navigating New Zealand's immigration landscape can be daunting, with policies that may not always favor migrant workers. Employment instability. Instances of sudden job losses, like the unexpected layoffs of over 700 Filipino construction workers in 2024, highlight vulnerabilities in employment security. Limited pathways to residency. Achieving permanent residency remains a complex process, often leaving workers in prolonged states of uncertainty. It's imperative for New Zealand to not only acknowledge, but actively support the Filipino community through policy reforms, equitable employment practices, and inclusive societal initiatives. Now it's over to you. Should New Zealand implement more robust policies to protect and support its Filipino workforce? How can both nations collaborate to ensure mutual benefits and safeguard workers' rights? Drop your insights and experiences in the comments below. Let's foster a dialogue that leads to meaningful change. But before you go, if this discussion resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth explorations into global workforce dynamics.